All right, shalom to the elect. I want to start by giving a lot of praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh is the one the world ignorantly calls God. Yah means he. Hawa means to be or exist. So Yahweh's name means he is, or he to be, or he exists. All right? And Yahweh is not a so-called white man. He's a so-called black man. Bahashem means in the name. Ba means in. Ha means the. And Shum means name. All right, and Yahweh Shai is the true name of the Messiah. Yahweh Shai is the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Yah means he, and Yahweh Shai means save or deliver. So Yahweh Shai's name means he is the savior or he is the deliverer. And Yahweh Shai also is not a so-called white man. He's a so-called black man. Bahashem once again means in the name, and Rakah Kwadash means Holy Spirit. Rakah means spirit and Kwadash means holy. So I said all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that were well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. All right, and I tried to do this lesson before, all right, but the audio wasn't working apparently. Let me just check something. All right. And so this is a continuation of the recent videos I've been doing of Exodus, all right, because the Passover, 2024, so you can understand it's coming up, all right. It's tomorrow, actually, because right now is March, I believe March 22nd. Yeah, Friday. It's like it. Today is Friday, March 22nd, 2024. All right. And tomorrow at sundown, all right, or Saturday, March 23rd at sundown, all right, is when the Passover begins. All right. And the way you say Passover in Hebrew is Pesach. All right. So I wanted to go into these chapters, all right, because, the High Holy Day is coming up. All right. And by the way, well, I'll just read it. All right. I'll just read through. Okay. So, yeah, I wanted to go into these chapters. The High Holy Day is coming up. Okay. And this is a part of, our history, the history of us Israelites. All right. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 11, starting verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. All right, so this upcoming plague will be the last plague, okay, that the Lord would, smite Egypt with, okay? And after this plague, Pharaoh will let Jake go. Verse 2, Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And Yahweh gave the people favor, Salakia, and Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. And Moses said, Thus saith Yahweh, About midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast, that ye may know how that Yahweh doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. All right. And this, plague, death of the firstborns, all right, in Egypt, all right. This is that last and final plague the Lord, have brought upon the ancient Egyptians at this time, all right. So that's the final plague that the Lord was talking about that he was going to bring. And after this plague happened, Jake would be let go out of Egypt, All right. And you'll find out the one that was, that pretty much, well, I was going to get into it. All right. So let's keep reading verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast, that ye may know how that Yahweh doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And all these thy servants shall come down unto me, and bow down themselves unto me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people that follow thee. And after that I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in a great anger. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Okay? So now going into the book of Exodus, the 12th chapter. All right? And once again, I'm just, all right, I'm going to read from here to verse 20, and this video is going to be part 1. All right? Because I'm recording on my phone, and this phone I don't think has, good enough storage space to do it all at one time. All right? So Exodus 12:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. All right? So the spring is the true beginning of the year. All right? Where flowers begin to blossom and nature overall begins to reflourish again. Not the dead of winter. All right? So the Passover, okay, or the Pesach, all right, comes in, sometime around the Pesach comes in somewhere in the month of March, around March sometime, okay? And also around that time is the time of spring, okay? So unlike how the so-called white man has taught, everyone to believe, that the new year starts in the dead of winter, okay? January 1st. Salakia. The so-called white man has made tons of millions of people believe that the new year starts in the dead of winter. I mean, has he not? He's put in these school systems, taught you from a kid, your parents taught you based off of what they knew in this devil's school system, that the new year starts in January. And that's a lie, okay? The new year does not start in January, all right? A true new year, all right, starts, in the time of the spring, okay? Which is, also around the time of the Passover, okay? That's when the true new year starts. And another reason or indicator that shows you that the true new year starts during the time of spring, all right, which once again is, around the same time that the Passover comes in. Another indicator that shows you that the true new year starts in the time of spring is that you look at nature, right? Well, actually, let me get a precept real quick. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse 4. This day came ye out in the month of Abib. All right. And let me just look up this word Abib. Okay. In the month of Abib. Now, the Strong's is 824. The Hebrew word Abayab, Abyab, or Abayab, Salakia, if I'm pronouncing it wrong. All right. Or Abayabah. All right. However you say that. All right. But you see, it says month of ear forming, of greening of crop, of growing green, Abib, month of Exodus and Passover, March or April. All right. So, month of ear forming, of greening of crop, growing green, Abib, month of Exodus, Passover, March or April. All right. Yeah, let me get the thing about spring, because another way you can think of it too is, the The new year, is when things spring, when nature what? Springs forth again. You can think of it like that as well. All right, so let me just get something real quick, man. So let me type this in on Google. What happens, Slakia, what happens to nature in the spring? Natural events, it says, and this is on Wikipedia. During early spring, the axis of the earth is increasing its tilt relative to the sun, and the length of daylight rapidly increases for the relevant hemisphere. The hemisphere begins to warm significantly, causing new plant growth to spring forth, giving a season its name. And once again, this is on Wikipedia. Okay? You see, causing new plant growth to spring forth. It's new, a new year, new plant growth, Watch this. What happens to animals in the spring? For most creatures, spring means more warmth and more daylight, and these two elements have major effects on animal behavior. Why spring activity? Animals become active in spring, arising from winter sleep, migrating, breeding, because with the warmth, plants grow and food becomes more abundant. All right? But see, it says right here, animals become active in spring, arising from winter sleep, migrating, and breeding. Now let's look at something. What happens to animals in the winter? So look, matter of fact, let's make a point first. All right. So it says animals become active in spring, right? They start coming out again and things like that. See what happens to animals in the winter. It says animals have different strategies for surviving the winter. The most common strategies are hibernation, brumation, diapause, torpor migration, and adaptation. Hibernation occurs when the animal enters a deep sleep for the entire winter. So some animals during the winter, they go into hibernation, they get, be put up and stuff. You see? How was that the new year? Okay? When as opposed to the spring, when it's springtime, the animals come out again, Let's see what happens to nature in the winter. The changes that winter brings affect people, animals, plants, and trees alike. So like it says, trees and plants go dormant. That word dormant means dormant. It says of an animal having normal physical function suspended or slowed down for a period of time. In or as if in a deep sleep. Temporarily inactive or inoperative. So in the winter, it all slows down, it stops, How can that's not a sense of newness, all right? That's not a sense of feeling of newness, man. Something is coming to a stop, it, pretty much, it's that, it's not a for the nature and the animals to slow down and things like that. That's not a sense of newness. Whereas in the spring, the nature springs forth again, the flowers blossom again, the animals come out again. So it's a new cycle. Because then think about it, the spring, what, you got once again you have the animals come out and the nature starts blossoming and things. All right, then you had go through. Let's look at the seasons. Seasons. Spring, winter. Let's just look at the seasons, man. Actually, yeah. So, so let me just see something. You got spring, summer, autumn, winter. All right. So the spring, I'm just getting this. Let me see if I can find a better picture. All right. I'll just use this. Actually, I'm just trying to find something. So it says, what is the order of the four seasons? For spring, summer, fall, and winter. All right. That in itself should even tell. And this is on National Geographic. That even in itself doesn't even start off with winter. Apparently, the last season is winter. How is that new? All right. It says spring, summer, fall, and winter. So think about it. The springtime comes in. Things start reflourishing. Nature starts reflourishing. The animals come out again. Starts to heat up. All right. Then go through summer, fall, and then winter. It all slows down, comes to an end, and then when spring comes back around, it happens again. Okay. Spring is so once again, you know, spring, all right, which also around the same time as the spring, the Pesach comes in, the Passover, all right. So around that time, which is around March sometime, okay. So around that time, the true New Year begins. And another thing, even if you look at the months in Latin, it's a certain picture I'm looking for. All right. This one says these months still have the Latin numbers in their names. September, those first couple letters mean in Latin are 7. October, those first couple letters oct are 8. November, the first couple letters nov are 9, and December, those first couple letters are 10. All right. Then it says if December is the 10th month. Let's continue. January, February, and 12th, and then March month the new year begins. See, around March sometime, which is also around the time of the spring. Because look, let's look up something else. What month does spring or does what month does spring normally start? Says many refer to astronomical spring on March 19th as the first official day of spring. Most meteorologists will argue that spring begins a few weeks before, on March 1st. Meteorological spring began March 1st. Summer begins June 1st. Fall begins on September 1st. Winter begins on December 1st. So apparently, March, all right? Well, not apparently, but, it's all pointing to March, okay? Now check this out. What is the dead of winter? The dead of winter is an old saying that refers to the coldest part of the winter season. For most of the northern hemisphere, that usually means the month of January. See? The same month that the so-called white man told you that the new year begins. And the coldest part. All right? Because while actually daily weather varies, historical average temperatures typically reach their lowest point of the year between January 10th and February 10th. You see? So yes, we've all been lied to. All right? But the true new year starts, the time of spring, which is also around the same time the Pesach, where the Passover comes in, which is also around March sometime. Okay, so Exodus 12, starting verse 1 again. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. See, so Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, he already gave us, these things. All right. It says, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. All right. Now it's going into, the instructions for the Passover. Verse 4, And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish. All right. And, the blemish, talking about, no spots, pimples, etc. on the lamb. So like a male of the first year. So it has to be 1 years old. All right. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. All right. So you can also keep the Pesach with goat meat. You can also keep the Passover with goat meat. All right. Verse 6, Ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Verse 7, And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. And with bitter herbs shall they eat it. All right. And it says roast with fire, just meaning cooked. And unleavened bread. And unleavened bread, all right. Unleavened bread is pretty much bread. Well, not pretty much, but unleavened bread, is bread that has no yeast. Okay. Yeast or leaven is what causes the bread to rise. Okay. Let's get an example. Let's just look at bread. All right, so you see here how the bread, is all, fluffed up. All right, that's because it's yeast in it. All right, now if we look at, say, a tortilla, right? For example, you see how it's flat, okay? You see how it's flat? That's because this has unleavened bread, or this is unleavened bread. Okay. Once again, leaven is also called yeast, and it causes the bread to rise. Yeast causes the bread to rise. All right. So yeast. So we can't. So the sundown of the Passover starts, you're not supposed to eat yeast for the next 7 days. All right. So Exodus 12:8 again, it says, And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. Okay. And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. So you eat the lamb, you have, you do these things, and it says with bitter herbs shall they eat it. And you can get things, bitter herbs, one bitter herb is horseradish, It says, Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. All right? And eat not of it raw, nor sodden. Eat nor sodden. About don't boil the lamb, or goat in water. All right? It says, But roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And purtenance just means entrails or the intestines. So you're supposed to burn it with all this. All right. Verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. Verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, right? So with your clothes on, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. All right. And in haste, Hebrew word, the Strong's H2649, the Hebrew word is chapazah. Chapazah. It says, so like he says, hurriedly in haste. So you're supposed to eat it quickly, you know? You're supposed to eat the Passover quickly. All right? You know, it says it is Yahweh's Passover. Verse 12, I will pass through the land of Egypt this night and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. It says, I am Yahweh. The blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. All right. And also, by the way, the Passover it's a solemn assembly. It's not a cheerful party. You know, it's not, you know, you don't party. You know, you don't party on the Passover. It's a solemn assembly. Okay. It's a serious thing. We're going to get the definition of the word solemn in a minute. Let me just prove that this is a solemn assembly. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and verse 8. You know, when you read into it, you know, it's going to the Passover and things like that. All right. She even says on the subtitle, the feast of Passover, of weeks, and of booths. All right. So Deuteronomy 16 and 8 says, 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread. And on the seventh day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt do no work. Thou shalt do no work therein. All right, Salakia. All right, and let's just look up this word solemn. Solemn.
Solemn.
Formal and dignified, not cheerful or smiling. Serious. All right. Salakia. So this high holy day, all right, it's a serious high holy day. It's not, you know, a cheerful party. You know, not like, you know, but you have these other Israelite camps, all right, outside of GMS, you know, that don't teach the same doctrine as GMS. You know, they invite and they go into the club on the Passover, having parties, inviting strippers over. It's, you know, they don't get it, all right. But the Passover is a serious thing, okay. It's a serious part. Salakia. Whoa. It's a serious high holy day. Okay? So take it seriously. But back in Exodus the 12th chapter, and now I'm at the 14th verse. It says, Feast of unleavened bread. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. And once again, leaven is yeast. Okay? You know, leaven is yeast. All right? You know, and it doesn't hurt, you know, to look. Let me say this. All right? Because I was going to wait to get into it. All right? But let me just see if it goes down into it. All right. So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna keep reading actually, and then I'm gonna go into it. Exodus 12 and 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven or yeast out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. All right. Once again, leaven is yeast. Okay. And yeah, you know, it don't hurt. You know. Well, you're not supposed to be eating anything with yeast. Okay. You know, you're not supposed to be eating any foods that have yeast in it. You know, and it don't gotta be just bread. You know, sometimes you look when you eat. You know, with this so-called white man, you know, you know, they put all these ingredients in the food and stuff, you know, so you could be eating something you would think it doesn't have yeast, and you look on the back and look at the ingredients and it has yeast in it. All right, or it has different leavening agents in it. Okay. So you have to look out for these things. Okay. Look out for these things, man. All right. It don't hurt to turn the package around and look at it. All right. Before eating it. And it's only for 7 days. Okay. It's not, should be easy. All right. It's only for 7 days that, you don't eat the yeast. Okay. Or these different leavening agents. All right. But then it says, even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. And if you can, if it don't hurt for you to put yeast out of your house, if you can, and it's possible, and it don't hurt, then, then you can do that, then do that, but if you can't, then, you just can't. All right. But it don't, if it's possible, then do it. If it don't hurt, okay? If you can't, then, you just can't. All right, for whatever, if you can't, you just can't. All right? Let's say it like that. Exodus 12:16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the seventh day shall be an holy convocation to you. So like it says, in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. I'm going to reread that. Exodus 12:16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you. Ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. Verse 18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 20th day of the month at even. So I'm going to reread that again. Exodus 12:18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even. Or even. All right. Let's look at that word even. Strong's is H6153. The Hebrew word is Irab, evening, night, sunset. So sundown. All right. At sundown. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even or sundown, ye shall eat unleavened bread. All right. So it said the 14th day. And I'm going to make a point with this. All right. The 14th day, that sundown. Pretty much, the sundown the Passover comes in. All right. That night that the Passover comes in. From that night, and it says, you shall eat unleavened bread. Right. You have to eat. You can't eat nothing with yeast. Not supposed to be eating any bread with yeast, man. All right. It says, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 120th day, so the 21st day of the month at sunset or at even. All right. And the reason I'm trying to, explain this is because you add it up. 14 plus 7 is what? 21. So it's shown. So just so you can understand for yourself, that this high holy day, the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread lasts for 7 days. From that night the Passover comes in, all right, for the next 7 days to that same sunset or sundown, all right, to that same sundown, all right. You're not supposed to eat yeast, all right. Verse 19, 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Whether he be a stranger or born in the land, ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. All right. You know what? I might keep going just a little bit, maybe to the next paragraph sign. Verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. Verse 23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. I'm going to read it again. Verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families to kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. All right. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. Okay. And just it said what? Strike the lintel and the two side posts. You type in just so you can understand door lintel. All right. The image of a door lintel. You know. See, that one doesn't say it. You know, the lintel, the top of the door. You know, that overhanging of the door. All right. You know. And then the two side posts would be pretty much, you know, the two side posts would be not the door itself, but, you know, it's like the frame, you know, talking like the frame of the door, you know, the top and then the two sides. Okay. You know, they said, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. Right. So this happened, you know. Jake had to stay inside. You know, they had to, you know, they had to do that. Verse 23. Why? For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your house, come in unto your houses to smite you. And this, all right, was you know, I want to say death angel, but you know, so I'll say so you can understand, but yeah, this death angel that was killing, you know, the firstborn, all right, was actually Yahweh Shai. Okay. And I'm gonna get into that, you know, once in the second part of the lesson. All right, because, you know, in chapter 11, you know, or the Lord, you know, Salakia, in Exodus 11, as we just read, you know, the Lord was letting Moses know about, he was letting Moses know about the final plague on Egypt. It wasn't actually happening in that chapter yet. All right, but we're about to read into the point where it's at, we know where it's actually going to happen. Okay. You know, so once again, that death angel that was killing all the firstborn is actually Yahweh Shai. Okay. You're going to go precept upon precept. Once again, you can't read the Bible like a novel. All right. You have to be taught, man. All right. You know, you got to be taught the scriptures. Okay. By the correct elders. Starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And let me say the correct teachers. You know, you got to be taught by the correct teachers, which is starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and the sincere brothers under them, teaching the same doctrine as them. Okay? You know, in all truth and sincerity. Okay? Salakia. All right? But, yeah, let me keep reading. Verse 24, and ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which Yahweh will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head and worshipped, and the children of Israel went away and did as Yahweh had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. This is part 1. All right. And the next part will be entitled The Rest of Exodus 12. All right. And I'll be reading from verse 29 on down. All right. Get some precepts with that. On to the next one. Shalom.